The first of our parent functions that we are going to address and work with is going to be our absolute value function. Now, if you recall from our introduction that we had earlier today, we know that an absolute value function is going to be V-shaped. And so that's going to help us out a lot. And I want to go ahead first and work with graphing this. So let's start off with going down to this table, and notice I have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2 already written in there. Those, with very few exceptions, which would be our square root function and our, well, really square root function is the biggest one. We usually are going to use these 5 values. And so let's first start off with just kind of going through and filling this out. So with the absolute value of x, the absolute value of -2, that's 2. The absolute value of -1 is 1. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Absolute value of 1 is 1. And absolute value of 2 is 2. Now I know a lot of you are going, do I really have to write down absolute value of -2 is 2, etc., all the way through the table when I can do it in my head? I understand that you can do that, but because this is the first time we're working with this in practice, that's why I'm writing down. If you can do it, great. So what I'm going to do now is I need to graph this. So if we look here, I've got -2, 2. Apologize. I want to grab this. -2, 2. -1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. And 2, 2. So I've got now my absolute value function, which is specifically V-shaped. And now it's time to address our new function that we have here of absolute value of x minus 2 plus 5. Now if we look back here at our notes that we have here, I apologize, we see here that if it has the plus on the outside, as we see here, it's going to be a vertical change up, and if we have a minus, it's down. So looking at our example here, we have a plus 5. So I know that I am going to have a vertical shift up 5. So I'm going to do 2 things. One, I'm going to write a plus 5 over here so I remember. And I'm going to start writing my rule. What I want for your rule is I want you to write what the ordered pair looks like. And I know that mine is a y plus a 5. And we'll work on the verbal in just a second. Now, looking here at this x, absolute value of x minus 2, this is going to be dealing with horizontal because it's inside. And if we go back here and look, if you recall, the horizontal shift, we got to think opposite and inside. Because if it's minus, we're going to actually go right, and left would be plus. So if we look here, we've got a -2, which means that we're actually going to go right 2. So what we want to write in our rule is an x, sorry, let me get a pen. We're going to write x, we're actually going to go +2 for our rule. So I'm going to write down here, so I remember, I'm going to put a +2 for our values, which is going to make our life a lot easier because we don't have to do as much calculation in the end. So let's go ahead, before we finish out the chart and graph, let's go ahead and write the verbal. And what we want to write is a vertical shift up 5 and a horizontal shift right 2. So that's what I'm going to be looking for when I say rule and verbal or transformation in your assignment that you will have to work on in class tomorrow. So now, knowing that, let's go ahead and do the actual transformation. If we're looking at this table here, we have to take all of our x values and add 2. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. And 2 plus 2 is 4. Then looking at the y value, we have to add 5 to every one of them. Starting here, 2 plus 5 is 7. 1 plus 5 is 6. 0 plus 5 is 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. And 2 plus 5 is 7. So now, going ahead and graphing this, we will take our points here that I've pre-made to help me out. We've got 0, 7, 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6. So I'll move that over. And 4, 7. And we can go ahead and draw the line in. And we have just drawn our transformation of our parent absolute value function to the right 2 and up 5. The last part that we need to do is we need to get our domain and range of our new function. So if you recall, domain and range are simply our x values and y values. So if we look at our domain, if you actually think about it, because this line keeps going for domain forever in both directions, because it'll keep getting wider, therefore our domain is going to be negative infinity to positive infinity, because we do have it keeping on going. Now our range, on the other hand, our y values, the lowest y value that we have for that new function is 5. So I'm going to make a box. That means we include 5. And it goes up forever, so I'm going to go to positive infinity. Now I know that might sound confusing for some of you, but we will work on that.